Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creating Healthy Habits webinar. And guys, we are going to run this webinar a little bit like we run the webinars in the transformation support community. So we all often start off by saying hello to each other, which is a nice way to start. So please say hello, where you're from, and have a little chat with us in the chat box. And this is the way that we communicate. So myself and Dr. Cleo will be able to talk to you, and you guys talk through the chat box. So please keep your audio muted so we don't hear like people's dogs and like children cooking dinner and stuff like that. But if you feel comfortable, please put your screens on so we can see your lovely faces. G'day, Suzanne from the Gold Coast and Joe from the Gold Coast, Team Gold Coast. These are a couple of Dr. Gina's people out there.
Sure are. Hey, team.
And Tracy and Wendy and Annalise and Lara and Michelle and Fiona and Tamara and Janelle and Natalie. And look, this webinar, normally in our transformation support community, we have like between 30 and a maximum of about 100 people. And we have had over 750 people register for this webinar. So it is, I don't know how many we've got in here now, 85 and counting. So I have a feeling that this is going to be a biggie. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing my screen because I've got a few little slides for you. And I'm a bit technologically gifted, so you're going to have to explain to me whether you can see my slides. There should just be like a little, yes, we got it.
You got it. Thanks, Glenn.
Nailed it. So yeah, it's going to be a really big webinar. So hopefully we don't have a blackout.
That's what goes through your mind.
I just gave Em Sparrenberg is with us. Wave at everyone. Em, she runs the program, and she'll be thinking, "Oh my goodness, it's Em's job to fret, so we don't have to." And look, jokes aside, the first thing that I really wanted to say to all of you is a big, warm welcome from Gina and myself. And thank you for your interest in transforming your habits. Gina and I have been talking over the past couple of days, and Em's been giving us updates, and we're like, more and more people are interested in this webinar. And it truly does mean the world to us. And I'll introduce Gina in a minute. And as you'll see from what she has to say and the research that she outlines, working on your habits can be absolutely life-changing, but it is a little bit different to anything you've done before. So anything different does take a bit of a leap of faith. So we are really glad that you're here taking that leap with us. So let me introduce Gina and my experiences with her as a health professional who I absolutely in my heart believe is the go-to person in this space. So Gina has a lot of clinical experience. I'm going to talk about her research and she's going to outline that later, but I always love researchers who are also practitioners. They're not off in the lab doing experiments, they're working with real people. And so Gina started off as a dietitian. And like many dietitians, she worked with a lot of people who wanted to lose weight and gain well-being. And while she loved that work, and you'll hear from Gina's energy, she loves working with people, but she did start to notice that a lot of the people's results were only short-term. And anyone who has worked with me for a while or who has read my book will know that I, working as a psychologist in that space, had the exact same experience. And so where I looked to read more research to understand what was going on, Gina conducted some research, and she conducted some pretty groundbreaking research. And that was actually the first time I met Gina, was back in 2017. And I was chairing the Eating Disorders and Obesity Conference. And I saw this little, it wasn't so little, but I saw in the program this research on habit change, non-diet, non-exercise habit change programs for weight management. Let's try and say that 5 times quickly. And so I snuck off from my duties to watch. And I remember that for me as a health professional, learning about Gina's research was really one of those kind of watershed moments. And so Gina's going to talk about some of the findings of her research with us today. I wasn't the only health professional that was pretty keen on Gina's work. I think that a lot of us who work in this space with people who are looking to manage their weight, I think a lot of our clients are kind of looking for something new and different and that works better, and us health professionals are too. So for that reason, Gina is very successful in doing a lot of health professionals training, and also doing a lot of work in the media. You can find her on the telly, in the news, and I've just been told I can let this cat out of the bag. Gina has an upcoming book deal. So that is going to be a real coup in bringing the power of habits to the world. And congratulations, Gina.
Thank you.
Okay, so look, guys, we're so excited to bring you this work. Ever since I first heard Gina speak at that conference in 2017, I have been wanting to bring her to you guys so we can work together. And I'm just so chuffed that we can. And Gina and I have been working really hard on this series for the past few months, at least few months now. And so I'm really, really excited that she can talk to you today about how you can use the power of habits to transform your life. So I am going to now hand you over to Gina, if I can, and let her take over.
Thank you so much, Glenn. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I love any opportunity to talk about habits. So we're going to cover a whole bunch of things together today, but I really do just want to say that we are so very honored for you spending your time with us tonight. So tonight we are going to be covering, firstly, what is a habit? We're going to go through tips on making and breaking habits, some of the research that Glenn has referred to on habits and also weight loss maintenance. We're going to touch on the upcoming 12-week Creating Healthy Habits series, and then we're going to wrap up with a Q&A. Now, there's 100 of us on the call right now. Like Glenn said, there's actually over 760 people registered for tonight's webinar. We want to honor your time. So we're going to do Q&As at the end of the webinar, and I'll answer any questions about habits. Glenn can answer any questions that you have about the program, but feel free to write any questions in the chat as we go along, and the lovely Em will filter them through to us at the end. So I want to start off by sharing a story with you. When I'm in the office, I try to step away from my desk and have lunch with my colleagues. And I noticed once that my colleague Ray would eat the exact same lunch every single day. And that was veggie sticks, dip, and cheese. Now, this has gone on for 3 years. And I'm not usually one to comment on people's food choices, but I had to say something. I had to know why she ate the same thing every single day, because I can't tell you I've eaten the same thing twice. I'm a very non-habitual person, which is very ironic for a habit researcher. But I thought, and I had actually thought that this had only gone on for the 3 years that I worked with Ray. Turns out Ray has been eating the exact same lunch for 20 years. When I asked her about it, she said, it's easy, it's convenient, I don't have to think about it, it's safe, and I know that I like it. It's why Barack Obama and Mark Zuckerberg wear the exact same outfit to work every single day. It's one less decision to make. But Ray has never tried so many different foods. Every now and then we'd go out for lunch at like the local cafe, and her eyes would scan the menu and it would jackpot on the grazing board where she can get her carrot sticks and cheese. Now, bad luck for her, I'm a dietitian who values variety, and I'm a habit researcher. So what an extremely unfortunate combination for a woman who really just wants to eat her carrot sticks in peace. Now, you may not eat the exact same lunch every day, but you do have habits and routines that you do every day without even thinking about. You might dry yourself after the shower in the same way, sit in the same place to eat dinner. You might park your car in the same spot or eat the same breakfast. The truth is, most of the time, what we do is what we do most of the time. And sometimes we do something different. We like to think that when we're making decisions for our lives, we're weighing up the pros and cons and deciding what's best for us. But the reality is we operate out of autopilot most of the time. And these automatic actions are your habits, which are triggered by impulses, emotions, and your environment, things that you're not consciously aware of. Research estimates that anywhere between 45 and 85% of everything we do every day is habitual. Hundreds of habits influence how you live your life and guide how you act day to day, how you eat, sleep, how you talk to your loved ones, how you get dressed and drive your car, how you do business, and whether you exercise or have a drink after work. How you unthinkingly spend your time is predominantly habitual. I like to describe habits as the invisible architecture of our everyday life. Now, the difference between behaviors and habits is behaviors are conscious and they're intentional. They're decisions like, how do I get from A to B? Or what should I do this weekend? Habits, on the other hand, are actions that you do automatically. They're the things that would feel strange if you didn't do them. Your habits are subconscious. They don't require any effort, and you don't have to remember to put on your seatbelt in the car. You just do it. You don't have to set an alarm in the morning to brush your teeth. It's just part of your routine. Ray didn't have to think about what to make for lunch. It was always veggie sticks, dip, and cheese. One of the key differences between behaviors and habits is that habits are always triggered. And this is really important to remember because it will help you formulate how to form new habits and break old habits. So thinking about habits are always triggered. Putting on your seatbelt is a habit which is triggered by sitting in the car. Eating lunch at 12 p.m. is a habit which is triggered by the time of day. You may not necessarily be hungry at 12 p.m. If you wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone, then waking up is going to be the trigger which prompts you to check your phone. Forming a habit requires 3 key ingredients, and they are the cue, the routine, and the reward. The cue is the trigger for the habit. It's either the place that you're in, the time of day, your emotional or social situation, or the action that you just took before. And when you encounter this cue, the habit is automatically triggered. The routine then, that's the habit itself. And finally, the reward. Now that's the benefit that you gain from doing the habit. And if the reward is positive, then this cycle forms a positive feedback loop that tells your brain, hey, next time that cue's encountered, do the same thing. So let me give you an example. Let's say that each time you get home in the evening, you eat a cookie and you really enjoy the taste and the texture of these cookies. That's your reward. And when you first eat the cookie, a mental link is formed between getting home, that's the cue, and eating the cookie, that's the routine. And each time you get home and eat a cookie, that link that's in your brain strengthens to the point that getting home prompts you to eat a cookie automatically. A habit has been formed. Eventually, just thinking of getting home automatically triggers the responding behavior, and doing anything else becomes really difficult because your brain's already triggered the habit loop. Getting home means eating a cookie. But here's where we get it wrong sometimes. We focus so much on the behavior that we want to change, and we ignore the trigger. We get home and think, I'm not going to eat cookies today. Nope, I'm going to be good. These cookies are dead to me. And then we get home, and before you know it, there's 2 cookies in your mouth at once. I know that I've definitely done that before. And that's why advice like just don't eat the cookie rarely works. Once you encounter the trigger, your brain has already started firing the necessary neural pathways to take action towards routine. Cue, routine, reward. It happens in a split second, and you're not even conscious that it's happening. But then we get frustrated, don't we? We get frustrated with ourselves, and we think we're failures, and we think, how can a cookie defeat me? I'm a strong, confident, successful person. Why can't I just have enough self-control? Has anyone asked themselves that question before? Yeah, when I learned about the limitations of self-control, it completely changed my life. I realized that I wasn't a failure at all. I was just using all the wrong tools. So let's think of self-control like a muscle. And the more you use it, the more exhausted it gets. Imagine that you're at the gym and you've picked up a dumbbell to do some bicep curls, as demonstrated by my lovely assistant on the screen here. After a few repetitions, your arm's going to get sore, and you're going to need to put the dumbbell down and rest your arm before doing another set of lifts. You know, self-control works in much the same way. The more you use it, the more exhausted it gets. Deciding what to wear in the morning, getting the kids ready for school, driving through traffic, arriving to work to a pile of emails, making several decisions a day. All these things exhaust your self-control, and it's not even 9 a.m. at this stage. So no wonder after a long, hard, emotional day, the last thing you're going to want to come home to is chicken salad. Give me chocolate, cheese, and that extra glass of wine, please. Now, the more demand you put on your self-control, the less you're going to have of it for other tasks. So the beauty of creating habits is that you don't need self-control. They're automatic and they are effortless. So imagine that, eating well, exercising, getting a good night's sleep without needing to put in any effort to do those things. They just happen. That is the power of creating a life around healthy habits. Now, we go into very detailed step-by-step guide on how to create new habits and how to break old habits in the 12-week series. But I wanted to give you some valuable take-home tips tonight. So a tip for forming new habits. Firstly, you want to choose a simple action that's going to move you towards your goal. And you want to plan when and where you're going to do that action. So you're attaching basically your routine to that cue. And the trick with habits, I always say the secret sauce to forming new habits is consistency. Being consistent is the most important thing that you can do. So here's an example of how you can form a new habit. If your goal is to go for a daily walk, for example, instead of saying, I'm going to walk 30 minutes a day, you can change it to at 7 a.m. or whatever time suits you, I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk. With repetition and consistency, 7 a.m. will automatically trigger your new walking habit. And it won't actually, all it needs is consistency, and you will no longer have to think about it. If your goal is to eat fruit daily, instead of saying, I'm going to eat a piece of fruit a day, to attach it to a cue, you would change it to something like, when I'm having breakfast, I'll eat a piece of fruit. And again, with time and consistency, having breakfast will automatically trigger your new habit of eating fruit, and it'll just happen as if on autopilot. We now know that habits are triggered by a cue. So if we want to change gears and break old habits, one of the best strategies to do so is to simply avoid the cue. If you avoid the trigger, you've avoided the habit, because the habit is not there without that trigger in the first place. I had a client once who would always go through a drive-through takeaway on his way home from work. And his wife said to him, I'd really like you to have dinner with the family more. And he also valued that. And so he wanted to do that as well. But every time he would see that drive-through, that fast food chain, he would just go straight in and order the same combo meal that he generally did. And he said to me, Gina, as soon as I see it, it's like the cue routine reward, that habit loop cycle starts straight away. And he felt completely out of control. He even tried to trick himself and say, all right, I'm going to go in the drive-through, but I'm not going to get a combo meal. I'm just going to get a really small fries, and then I'll still be able to eat dinner with my family. But that's not how it would happen. As soon as he was triggered, it was straight into the routine that he'd always done. So I said to him, if it's not possible if it's possible to avoid the queue, let's do that. Is there a different way that you can drive home? And he said, yep, actually there is. And it's the same distance. So he drove a different way home. And without that trigger, the routine of eating that fast food on the way home completely fell away. And it took him absolutely no effort to do so. No trigger means no habit. Now, sometimes you can't avoid the trigger. If your trigger is coming home, for example, you can't not come home. So the key then is to replace that unwanted habit with a new, more desirable habit. And the key here is to be mindful of your habits and to know your triggers, which again is something that we deep dive into in our 12-week habit series. Now, I wanted to put this theory to the test. So I conducted what we call in research a randomized control trial, which is a high evidence research study. I recruited 75 participants living in larger bodies and randomized them into one of 3 groups because I wanted to see which program worked best for weight loss maintenance. We had one group forming new habits, one group breaking old habits, and we had a waitlist control group. Now, these poor guys basically had to do nothing for the duration of the study, but we always need a control in a randomized control trial. Now, none of these interventions focused on diet or exercise. The forming new habits group were given 10 healthy lifestyle tips, and they were asked to repeat as many of the tips as they can every day, with the aim of the tips eventually becoming habitual. The habit breaking group were asked to do random tasks on random days of the week at random times. And when I say random, I mean random. They were things like drive a different way to work, sit in a different spot to eat breakfast, listen to a different radio station today, contact a long lost friend. I mean random. This intervention was interestingly designed to disrupt daily routines because that increases something called behavioral flexibility, which also increases mindfulness. And again, it's something I can't go into too much detail in now because we don't have enough time, but something we talk about in the program. But this study here, the programs ran for 12 weeks and we followed up the participants for 12 months. Interestingly, when I was collecting data on the participants, I realized that all of them had tried dieting before and were unsuccessful. Most of them had actually tried more than 5 diets in their lifetime. So let's see what happened. Post-intervention. So after 12 weeks, we found that the 2 habit change groups had really similar results. So we've just grouped them here in the blue. And you can see in the black, that's the waitlist group. They're the ones that did nothing. And so we've got, you can see that after 12 weeks, the weight loss is, it's quite comparable to conventional lifestyle programs. So this is nothing profound. It wasn't surprising, but my focus was really on how the participants maintained this weight loss. Now, before I show you that, I want to show you what usually happens in weight loss studies. And it's something that along the lines of this. We usually see what we call, or what Glenn likes to call, the Nike swoosh of weight regain. And essentially what generally happens is straight after a weight loss program, the weight that the people lost is regained again. Now, we also see that with smoking cessation interventions and with all sorts of other interventions. As soon as the program's done and there's no accountability, the behavior goes back to how it was in the beginning. Sometimes, most of the time, with a bit of interest. But here's what happened in our trial. So after following up the participants for 12 months, now in that 12-month period, I want to note, we did not make any contact with them. There was no accountability. There was no, no sort of contact or anything like that at all. And I want you to also keep in mind, these interventions were not focused on diet or exercise, but you can see that the participants continued to lose weight 12 months after the study had finished. Habit change interventions successfully created long-term weight loss outcomes. And since my study, research has concluded that habits are the only proven method for sustained outcomes. One of my favorite parts of running this trial was having a discussion with some of the participants afterwards to know a little bit more about their experience of the program, because we'd never done anything like this before. And here are some of the things they said. I've really got into these good habits now and I find it easy. It's automatic. The tips are just in my head. Everything about weight loss before has been strictly about food, nothing about changing habits. I'd just go off the program and pile the weight back on because of old habits, but I've maintained my weight loss. It is so different. It's not your usual diet and exercise program. It's something that moves you to think differently, not even just consciously, but unconsciously. I had the honor of being able to share my results. Actually, when I published the study, to be honest, I was inundated with interest from the medical industry and the news and media outlets. And I was privileged to present the results at some of the world's biggest and most reputable conferences around the world, and to at least 150 news and media outlets. And, it was wonderful because I wanted to spread the word and help people quit dieting forever and discover the freedom of a life built around good habits, which is why I'm super excited to be able to bring you a 12-week series, Creating Healthy Habits, which starts August 1st. This is the first and only program of its kind, and it's my lifelong work condensed in this comprehensive interactive program. And this is what we're going to learn together. So we'll start the series with why you do the things you do. Why is it that we often intend on doing something, but end up doing something different? We'll also take a deep dive into the important difference between habits and behaviors. Then we'll start with Habits 101, will be all the essential things to know about habits. And then we'll go through triggers, because they are the key to forming new habits and breaking old habits. And there's a great quote in neuroscience that says, cells that fire together wire together. And we'll be learning all about the brain and neuroscience in a future module as well. And then in the art of forming new habits, today we touched on forming new habits, but in this session, we're going to go through this in a lot more detail. We'll go through a practical activity to work on your new habits during the session and for the duration of the series and beyond. Supercharging your habits is all about strategies to making triggers more effective. And then we're going to go through 2 proven methods to break old habits. And so once we go through that, I'm not sure if you guys can still see that. Oh, you can see my whole screen now. Okay, cool, we're back. And then we're going to go through micro habits. This is the #1 strategy to succeeding at changing your habits. This session is all about appreciating how small changes make big differences. In understanding automaticity, we'll learn how long does it actually take to change a habit. If you've heard it's 21 or 28 days, that's a total myth. But we will learn how to speed up the process. If you're anything like me, you want to change your habits yesterday and you don't want to wait for the up to 12 months that it could potentially take. But no, it doesn't have to take that long with some of the tips that we'll learn in this session here. One of my favorite sessions is the neuroscience of habits. And this is really understanding all about your brain. And I find it incredibly empowering understanding your brain, understanding the concepts of neuroplasticity, of synapses, of what is actually physically happening in your brain when you're making decisions to do certain things. And then the powerful part of, well, how do you rewire your brain to achieve success? Do something different is all about exploring the other side of habits. And, sometimes we can become too habitual and we become too automatic. And so we'll learn how to live a life in balance. The other day, Glenn and I had a work meeting together and it was an all-day meeting, and I walked in with my own lunch and I said, Glenn, I'm here with my own lunch because I'm not eating tuna today, because Mr. Glenn Mackintosh eats tuna with brown rice every single day. He's worse than my colleague Ray, and I just wasn't going to have a bar of it. Once you've done a Master of Dietetics, all the dietitians seem to eat tuna for lunch, and after a couple of years of that, I was done. So Glenn, you got to make sure that you're there for that session. Session 11 will be, I'll introduce the most widely used behavior change framework by some of the world's top researchers. And then we will wrap up the series talking about setbacks, because things don't always go to plan and success is not a linear process. So we're going to go through 5 evidence-based setback strategies to get you back on track and get you back on track quickly. Now, we've also got a couple of bonus sessions. So the first one is all about goal setting, how to actually set goals at the right level of challenge. And we will conclude with how to get and stay motivated. So that is all from me. This is all going to be done in the transformation support community, which I'll pass on to Glenn to talk all about.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I've got to say, vouching for Gina's work, I have already experienced the benefits of it. One area is I've learned so much putting the program together with you, Gina. And one of the things that I've learned is improving my behavioral flexibility, which is, I'm like, anyone who knows me, and Em's laughing, I'm just such a super routine person, and I've done a few things that have been like a bit flexible. Like my friends like, oh Glenn, you won't do this because it's a Sunday afternoon and you've got work the next day, and I'm like, nah, actually that sounds fun. And they're kind of like, who's this guy? So I'm already starting to reap the benefits of that, Gina, although I'm sure there is a lot more to go. And Gina knows her screen has gone off, so she will just be working on that in the background, and hopefully we can see her face again, and if not, we will just hear her voice. So let me get back to sharing my screen. Absolutely amazing that I'm not the one with the technical difficulties, so this actually is just really surprising to everyone. Okay, so you guys can see my screen now. Rock and roll. Let me let you know a little bit about the program that you will join, the community that you will join if you want to become a part of this series. So what are the details of the transformation support community, or the TSC, as we lovingly call it, which is the way in which you can become a part of this series if you're interested. And of course, we would love to have you. So a big core of the transformation support community is close contact. We know that if you are struggling with something that you might have been finding a challenge for a long time, you do need a lot of close support. So one of the main things we do is weekly live webinars. Often those webinars are with myself, and now this one is obviously with Dr. Cleo. And people have been asking the 12 webinars and the 2 bonus webinars in this series. Well, all be with Gina directly. You can, you get a Sunday email every Sunday that will let you know what's going on that particular week. You can email through and ask Gina questions about it, and she can answer those in the webinar. So it's a very, very closely supported thing. We have done a whole series of webinar series in the past, and so you also have access to all of those. So that obviously the main reason why you might be interested in the community at the moment is so you can go through this 12-week series with Dr. Cleo, but there is a lot of added value being a member of the community. You also get access to our 12-month transformation online, which is a series of 5 online programs. They're very detailed, very structured. They're people who, they're good for people who really want to sink their teeth into to particular challenges. You also get access to our complete reprogramming series, which is a set of 3 audio programs. And they're nice things that you can do. Some you can play in the car, some contain hypnosis. Those ones are different, but they're nice, easy things that you can use to support you on your journey. There is also just this beautiful member-only Facebook community. And the TSC is really like a huge group therapy program. So we spend a lot of time actually cultivating this beautiful group that nurtures you without judging. Now, you will be able to access the Creating Healthy Habits series if you sign up at any time. But during that 14 weeks when we're running the series, the 12 weeks plus the 2 bonus weeks, that will be the only time where Gina will be in the community there, working with you and answering your questions. So it's a really good time to join if you're interested in that. There are optional accountability buddies for people who want them. So we pair you up with someone for some extra support so you can keep each other accountable. And not all of our members do that, but our members who do really, really enjoy it. You also have access to these one-on-one, what we call pathway to success sessions. So they're little 15-minute sessions that you get with either myself or our transformation support coaches that can just help you if you're feeling like a little bit lost or you've got one particular sticking point. And we find those really, really useful to help our people get unstuck and make sure that they're finding their pathway to success. So there really is a lot to the program. But don't get overwhelmed by that. We say in the TSC, and there's a few TSCers here who are just popping in to see what's going to happen in the Habit series. And they'll have heard me say this a million times, that everything in the transformation support community is an opportunity, not an obligation. So you can really pick and choose from the bits that work for you. One of our big values is close support, and another one is flexibility. So you do the program in a way that's right for you. We have a cool new app where you can access all of the materials. So when Gina's webinar is uploaded into the system, which happens shortly after the webinar actually takes place, you'll be able to just get it on your phone, and you can see where you are in the program, what lessons you've completed, what you've got to go. So that's really, really nice. And one of the cool things about the transformation support community is that we are co-creating the group. The transformation community support team, the group itself, and me are always developing and improving the program. And one of the things that our group really wanted this year was workbooks. So here's a picture of Dr. Cleo and I creating what I must say is a pretty ripping workbook. So that's something that you can get, and it will help obviously guide you through the series and any of the activities that we do. Now, I'm just thinking that I might just stop sharing this for a second, and I might just start sharing. I might just quickly show you, we've got a tiny little bit of time. I might just quickly show you a little bit about how the program kind of works. So if you join in the program, this is what it kind of looks like. You join on this page. There's a little video of me that explains like a little bit about how you navigate your way around. And then you have access to the Transformation Support Community Hub. So this is where all your webinars are. 12-month transformation, that's all your online programs, and the complete reprogramming series, which is all of your audio programs. So if you went into the 12-month transformation, you'd see here that there are 5 really chunky, detailed, structured online programs that you can work your way through whenever you want to. If you go into the complete reprogramming series, you'll see there's a few audio programs. This one's to be done while you relax. This one you do while you walk, and this one you can do anytime. So our members really like them. They're just a nice, helpful little bonus resource. And then the real sort of, I suppose, the heart of the transformation support community is these webinars. So if we go down here, there's a welcome series, and that just talks you through everything about the program and how to make the most out of it. Here's where your upcoming webinars are. So, when you join this program, you'll know, the most recent upcoming webinars with Dr. Cleo. And then here is all of your historical webinars. So you can access stuff on self-esteem and body image, intuitive eating, tapping, emotional eating. So everything that we've all done in the past, you can work through that. So that is kind of the way that it works. And I thought that would be worthwhile just sort of showing you how that all kind of works when you become a part of the program. So let me go back to sharing my slides. And that's basically how it all works. But like Gina said, I'll be here to answer any other questions you have about the program. So let me tell you finally about the habit series that, as you can tell, Gina and I are more than excited about. So I will never limit the overall amount of people that we would have in the transformation support community, but because we really want to keep the support intimate, we limit the growth of the community. So this series, we've opened it up to an extra 60 members. And a lot of you will have gotten an email in the past week or so that invited you to this webinar. And we did say, look, if you really want to join up and you're just ready to roll, then please just join up. And so we've already had a few people join up, and we've got 47 spots in the series remaining. And the way you secure your spot is you just register. And Em will put up the link so you can register for the program. You can register whenever you want. And basically, it's just like first in, best dressed. Now, a couple of weeks before the program starts is a good time to join the program. You can find your feet, you can apply to be an accountability buddy, you can get into the Facebook group, see how that all works, check out the weekly emails. So you just kind of get to know the program, and then start officially August the 1st. We do have a special discount going, which is 25% off. And if you sign up for that discount, then you get that 25% off forever. So if you choose to after this series, we'll always let you know about what's coming up in the TSC. You want to do another series, or you want to become a part of the community. And it's so wonderful for us. We do have some members who are like, I'm going to be here for ages. They just love it. So we'd like you to be a part of the community for as long as you want. And if you sign up with that discount code, then you kind of get that forever, which is cool. And I think Em will have provided the link there for you. So that's pretty much it. And I probably don't have to say it, but I will. Gina and I are just super excited about this series. It is, like Gina said, it is, such a wonderful way for her to bring her life's work to the public. At the moment, it is the only way the public can access Gina, which is super cool. And as such, it's a real privilege for us to be able to have her. So I think that I always love introducing you to people who will tie in and dovetail beautifully with our work, but also extend our work. And this habits series really is that. So a couple of questions that people have. Do I have to attend the live webinars? You don't. We know that some people do, but most of our people actually just watch it in their own time. People worry, if I miss a webinar, am I going to is that going to be the end of the world? And no, we want to make the series very life friendly. So all of the webinars will tie in with each other, but they're all designed to be independently valuable. So if you miss one or a few, you can always just catch back up on them, or you can just dive into the next webinar and just start to find the flow. They're kind of designed that way. People do want to know, you get asked to sign up to a million things these days. And what if I want to cancel my subscription? And we want the community to be so good that you never want to cancel. But if you do, then it's really, really easy. There's no long-term contracts or anything. It's just a month-to-month thing. And whenever you're ready to finish up, you just cancel your membership, and you still remain a member with access to everything until your subscription period runs out. And then you're ready to roll. And I've already kind of answered that about how many members there will be. We won't ever, I don't think, limit the overall amount of members in the TSC. It actually is a wonderful way for us to give a much lower cost a program to people compared to individual psychology, individual dietetics. But we will limit the growth of it, because our commitment to the community is that as it gets bigger, it will get better, not the other way around, which can kind of happen with some programs. So I have been talking to lots and lots. We thought we would open up to a little Q&A, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we will open up to any of your questions. And we got Gina Cleo back.
I'm back. Thank goodness I have more than one computer. My other computer decided tonight it wanted to reset itself.
Just decided that wasn't that I feel bad. I feel like I jinxed us with the blackout chat at the start.
I think you did, because it has never done that. In the whole last 3 years I've been Zoom laughing. This was your fault. No.
Go figure. Go figure. All right. So let's see if there are any questions. And we'll check the chat box and see if we can answer any. And Em, if you can help us out, that would be awesome. So Michelle asked, is this course good for health professionals to do? I tell you, I have been putting together this series with Gina, and I have learned so much. I've stolen so much to use with my clients. It has been fantastic. But I would say that we have quite a few health professionals, dietitians, psychologists, fitness trainers, counselors, holistic health practitioners. We do have quite a few of those members in the TSC. But what we do ask, because it is for the public, and we need to have it a safe space for the members, that if you join, you actually join as a member and you go through it as a member. If you want to do just some health professionals training, Gina has separate health professionals training that you can find on her website. And Em, maybe you can link Gina's website. So she does some wonderful work with health professionals training. So I would say if you're looking at doing this from a purely academic perspective, from a pure health professional perspective, I wouldn't do it. But if you're sort of thinking, hey, I would like something that will improve my practice, but I really want to sink my own teeth into it and do that experiential learning, which I think is, an awesome way to learn, and our clients really value that, then absolutely yes.
And there's a question here as well from Tanya that says, what if the healthy habit, for example, eating a fruit, is not something that you like? Where is the psychological gratification needed to help change this behavior into a habit? Great question. So the beauty of the program is the habits that we will be looking at changing, whether that's forming new habits or breaking old habits, are going to be personal to you. You get to decide those habits. We don't determine them for you. So it's a very personalized program and approached all the way through. If you don't want to eat fruit, girlfriend, that's absolutely fine. You can pick whatever habit you would like to choose.
So someone asked, how long is each session? The sessions will go for, like this one, roughly an hour. It's almost like the way we do dietetics or psychology sessions. We kind of think of you guys like one big client of ours. So sometimes if we've got a shorter session, we might have a little shorter session. And sometimes if we need to kind of go there, you might go a little bit over. I think the good news is that compared to people who are used to me doing most of the webinars, Gina will probably be on time. If you continue to come and do some webinars with me, I just treat you like my clients. If my last client goes late, I get to you like 5 or 10 minutes late, but I don't think that's going to happen with Gina.
No, we will start on time and we will finish on time.
Very good.
I was trained in a university system. We don't have the option of being late.
All right, what else have we got?
Where do we get the workbook, and does it cover all the course material so we can refer back to it? Yes, it covers all the course material, but it's an outline. We go into way more detail in the actual webinar sessions, which you will also have access to. And the workbook guides you through each one of those sessions. So you will be able to access the workbook. Glenn, where?
You will be able to access the workbook. So what will happen is if you join the program, and this dovetails with a question that Tamara asked about, she's just signed up for the TSC and is not sure where to find the Creating Healthy Habits webinar that starts on August 1. So basically what you will do is once you join up as a part of the community, you'll get these emails every Sunday and they let you kind of know what's going on. Please read them. Please do not unsubscribe from them. And so what you'll find is the week before August the 1st, so that Sunday of, you'll get an email and it will say, hey, the program is starting. And in that will be your nice, shiny workbook. And it will have all of your 12 sessions in it, plus your bonus sessions. And we would just suggest that you download that or print that so you can have it forever and you use it, as Gina said, as your guide. You'll actually do all of the work in the sessions and for homework, but that's just a beautiful guide for you. There was another question about when the webinars are. So the webinars are 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on a Wednesday. So M Sparrow will put up a time zone converter so you can see what time that is where you live. But we do know, like I said, that the majority of our people actually watch them in their own time. And we suggest that, Jenny, you'll love this. I suggest, based on a chat we had about habits like maybe a year ago, that to form a habit, you choose the time and the place. So you actually do it, even if you're not watching it at our regular time, you do it in your own regular time, in your own regular place, because that's how it makes you more likely to form a habit. Am I right, Gina?
Absolutely. Cue routine reward.
Yes. So, and we do know that, our community is all there to serve you. We try to make it as easy for you as possible. So after the webinar is recorded, M or Mr. Nick, who is our other technical and support guru, stays up that night and downloads the recording and uploads it into your series. So what I showed you there, Tamara, and what you'll see if you're a part of the program, is that the Creating Healthy Habits will just be another webinar series. It'll be the one right at the top, and it will be in that current, upcoming, and recent webinars. So you can just find it everywhere. And we email the next webinar link to you every week. So it becomes pretty smooth to kind of get into the process.
Glenn, there's a question here from Magnolia that I think you could answer. How and when do you evaluate success of your course and the participants' goal achievement?
Yeah, fantastic. So 2 ways. One, there is a goal setting webinar series that we encourage all of our members to do at some stage. It's called Reach Your Goals and Become Who You Want to Be. And in that, we help you to create your own goals for success and overcome sabotage. And we talk through all the barriers and how you actually do that. So you actually create your own measures. That's the first way. But each of the series, we actually want to evaluate your progress in the series. So in the habit series, for example, based on Gina's research, we know that the habits you want to create are going to become stronger. So we won't steal our own thunder, but we measure the strength of those habits you want to create. And then we know that the habits you want to break, if we're successful, will become weaker. So we measure that habit strength, and we measure the habit strength of habits you want to make and break at the start of the series, and then we go back and re-measure them. So you can measure not only what you're doing, your behaviors, but the strength of your habits. So you'll know that your old habits are weaker and you know that your new habits are stronger. The other thing is that Gina's research also showed, which is not surprising, that if you change your habits, you become healthier, you break old habits, you make new habits, your mood gets better. So we also will, as part of the program, we will measure your mood, your levels of depression, anxiety, stress at the start and at the end. So we will be able to show, and we always say to people, and I think that, Gina and I are a bit like research geeks. So we like to you'll feel the benefits, you'll know them, you'll experience them, they'll become part of your life, but we do like to actually measure it. So for people that, and it is pretty cool, even if you don't think you're so research minded, to actually see your results there in black and white and think, whoa, I really have made some progress. So I hope that answers the question.
We love data. Glenn, how long do people pay the monthly fee for? Is it 3.5 months to 14 weeks or ongoing?
So I explain it to people that it's like the TSC is like a gym membership. So you sign up whenever you want, and then you just finish up whenever you want. So it's just a monthly fee. And once you sign up, you make sure you enter that discount code TRANSFORM, because then you'll get your 25% off. And once you sign up, and Em, I think you probably put the link up for people to sign up. Yeah. So once you sign up, you can go for as long as you want. You actually get a 7-day free trial. So say if you wanted to just join up for this series, the official series is 12 weeks. You could probably just sign up for 3 months. If you then wanted to do the bonus sessions, then you'd be signing up for 4 months. We are then going to roll into a new series. So just before, like, this kind of takes us up to before Christmas, which we think is a really good, time frame. You can sort of set yourself up for healthy habits before the silly season. But there are going to be a few more webinars after that. So we're going to do a series of, I think, 3 to 5 webinars on how you manage Christmas time successfully. So if you decided, hey, I want to be a part of that, then you can just stay on board. And if you decided, at the start of every year, we do this reach your goals and become who you want to be, this goals, values, intention, identity setting process, which is super cool. So if you decided, hey, I wanted to stick around for that, then you could just continue forever. But it's kind of, you start when you want, you stop when you want, and it's just that monthly subscription. This is a good question for you, Gina, from Wendy. Will the course cover things like self-sabotage?
Yeah, I did respond to that in the text there.
Oh, cool. Sorry.
But I can just go through it. Basically, the course doesn't directly cover self-sabotage, but we will certainly be learning about self-sabotage indirectly by understanding our behavior and why we're doing the things that we're doing.
I think, speaking as a psychologist who works with self-sabotage all of the time, I would agree. There's no one lesson on how you overcome self-sabotage, but there will be so much in the series about Gina helping you understand, and I'm stealing all of your thunder, what we call that intention behavior gap, which is that difference between what we want to do and what we actually do. And in psychologist terms, this difference is self-sabotage. Why don't we do what we want to do? And why do we keep doing things we don't want to do? And so let me explain, give my answer from a clinical perspective. I told you that I was blatantly stealing all of Gina's knowledge for use with my clients. And I'm doing a lot of work with them around habits when they are self-sabotaging.
Yes.
So,
I hope you're referencing me, Glenn.
I always reference you because you're the guru and it adds weight to what I'm saying. People are not like, oh, this is just Glenn's random idea. I'm like, well, this comes from Gina, so it just like has extra weight because 3/4 of them know you anyway. And I got a question here from Andrea. Can we do it next year if we have commitments? She's not procrastinating. And it's like, you absolutely can. You'll be able to do it anytime. The only big advantage of doing it now is now you have live access to Gina for that whole time, which is a pretty cool win, but you can do it anytime. So guys, let me just see if we've had any more questions. Are we missing anything?
I think that's it. Me being me, I'm like, it's 8:32. We have to honor your time.
I knew you would be thinking
Glenn's like, oh, we've got another 10 minutes. It's okay.
I knew you would be thinking that.
This is our yin and yang.
You should have seen Dr. Cleo and Emma like cracking the whip for me when we're getting ready for this session. I'm like, oh, holy moly. Okay, guys, I think, yeah, that is tons and tons for us today. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your interest. Thank you, Gina, for generously sharing your time with us. Thank you, Em, for supporting us. And guys, we are really looking forward to, we hope that you've gotten some value out of today. I know I have. I've been writing some more notes. So hopefully it's been a worthwhile webinar for you. I'm sure it has been. And we are very much looking forward to inviting people who want to take the next step to breaking some old unwanted habits, creating some new healthy habits, and using this power of neuroscience and this amazing habits research that Gina has been conducting to really transform your habits in a way that is right for you. So thank you very much, guys. And we will be sure to see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.